Dance with me. You gotta live inside of me. Oh, inside of me. Oh, it's so goddamn waste of me. Last time. This is a lot better. Okay, so last time. Damn, I look blurry. It is what it is. Last time, my mic audio was way low.
YouTube, what's going on, y'all? It's Mitch, and I'm back with another video, man. It's what?
Pause. All right, cool. This should be a really quick, really simple stream. I really got 3 things to talk about, and then I'm gonna just be out. So I think I'm gonna do the first thing that I was looking at. 47 minutes. Oh my god. All right.
In my comment section screaming, but Shane.
Okay, I'm just gonna react to. You know what? It'll be alright. But it's the streams. They're supposed to last hours. But like, I'm gonna react. 47 minutes is crazy though. That's fucking nuts. I hope it's good. I'm gonna react to what's it called? I'm gonna react to why I stop or why I can't defend One Piece anymore by Shane D. So I was watching this for a little bit. It was pretty good. Hold on. I might have to turn the camera off. Diamond, give me chill. You know how we live. Don't play no damn games with me. You got deep inside of me. What about those on the web? Okay, cool. All right. Simple stream. I'm just do this One Piece reaction video. And oh yeah, I gotta turn this off. Okay. So anyone just joining the stream, shout out. I'm about to do a reaction to this. You know why I can't defend One Piece anymore. And then I got 2 more videos I'm gonna react to, and then I'm gonna, shut it off. This should be a quick stream. This wasn't very planned. All right. The fuck is going on?
What did One Piece do to you? And my answer in return.
Anyway, so to preface this video, he's saying he's a huge fan of One Piece. He's been watching One Piece for several years, and just lately, it's just not been hitting. I think the thumbnail actually says why he stopped watching it. And also just like, for me, I'm up to episode 950, which is a lot, but that also means that I haven't seen the latest 200 episodes, which is like what, the last year and a half. So, like, I'm probably gonna be like woefully spoiled on this, but it is what it is. I feel like I know a little bit of spoilers anyway, but we'll see what he has to say.
Nothing. Yeah, you guys can call me Horty Jones because my answer is nothing. Nothing changed, and that's the problem for me. The story never evolved in a meaningful way for me. Heartbreaking, I know. And this is where we begin section 1.
Anyway, before he begins, so I remember one of the comments that I had was like, a huge part of One Piece is the fandom. Not only that, but a huge part of One Piece is the fandom telling you over and over again that this is the greatest story to ever exist. And no fandom glazes their show like that ever. Like, ever. So, and they said, bro, I swear after episode 500, it becomes peak. One of the best pieces of show you'll ever see in your life. Right? So, you go into that, or at least I went into that, believing whatever it was at right now, it was going to get better. And it was only going to get better and continue to, keep getting better. So, like, from episode 1, honestly, how it starts is pretty good. I would say it's very good, especially in the beginning. There's not a lot of problems with pace. It flows pretty well. After a while, it starts to drag, right? Like, nigga, Millennium Dragon pissed me the fuck off. There's no reason for that shit to be there. Obviously, Long Ring, Long Land, irritating. The fucking Luffy Fro shit, stupid. But like, for me, when One Piece started to really spike in quality was Whole Cake, because to me, Whole Cake from Zoe to the middle of Whole Cake, it was like episode after episode of just like okay, I see where we're going with this. The stakes felt heavy, Big Mom felt like not just one of the strongest characters, but one of the most consequential characters. Like, you go here, you die. Like, we're deep in Big Mom territory. I don't think we've ever seen a character up to that point where just being in their presence was a big deal and threatened the existence of the Straw Hats, And so that was really cool. Obviously, and I'm not afraid to admit it, like, man, there was a part in Whole Cake where Luffy's talking to Sanji. It made me shed a tear. Like, that shit was actually peak. My personal problems with it, and we may get to this after, is that it's just not consistent. Of the 1,000 episodes, I would say every 11 episodes you'll have something that just really makes you go, whoa. But the rest of it is kind of like 4 to 6 out of 10. Yeah, let's see what you guys say.
Stagnation of One Piece, in my opinion. In my opinion, the structure hasn't changed, and the outcomes certainly haven't changed. Whether you watch or read this story, you will soon come to realize that it is the same sequence of events unfolding over and over and over again. And after long enough, that repetition doesn't feel comforting. It feels stagnant like pond scum. And here's the loop. The Straw Hats arrive at a new island. The Straw Hats come face to face with quirky culture. Get it? Because the dog is extra long, and the island name is Long Ring, Longland Island, or whatever the fuck it is.
See, I told you, this shit pissed me the fuck off. But obviously, this is one of the worst examples of filler. So, this shit was so ass. This shit was so ass. Nobody tells you this when they tell you to watch One Piece. Well, you heard it from me. Look, this shit is ass, okay? This is ass. Do not let anyone tell you One Piece has no ass. It has ass parts. It doesn't have boring parts. It has ass parts. But Long Ring Long, that's so easy to pick on. Like, there's obviously different structural problems you can talk about the story, not just one part that was really ass.
But this aside, more often than not, the Straw Hats will encounter funny locals and have strange rules on these islands. But
He showed like
But this aside, more often than not, the Straw Hats will encounter funny
Yeah, he shows the fairies. This is one of the best world building parts of One Piece. Like it's an entire, race of people that's forced to live underground because of, the previous king and all. Like this is one of the best. Like visually it's interesting having these little people and the actual like reason and the reasons for them acting the way that they do is great. I love that they have the quirk. They're so naive and like I love that they're little and they're naive, but they're not bitches. Like as soon as it's time for them to fight, it's like, oh shit, they time to fight. They beat the fuck out of who they need to fight.
locals and have strange rules on these islands. But uh-oh, something's wrong. There's an oppressive ruler, a tyrant, a real pirate, a god, perhaps a sea creature that needs to be dealt with. But then we meet a new character. Go ahead and cue the tragic flashback and the same sad music used for every sequence, but it should be stated that One Piece delivers us a plethora of themes. Dead parents, slavery, hunger, trauma. And let me be very clear here. I'm not trying to make a caricature out of any of these themes. These are serious subjects, and for the most part, I believe that One Piece actually handles these maturely and effectively. That's not the problem. That's never been my problem. My problem is the resolution is always the same. No matter how complex or horrific the situation is, it ultimately relies on Luffy between bites of meat and stretching his arms, punching the problem in the face. Different trauma, different setting, same solution. And I shit you not, this
So far, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but I'm intrigued on where he's going with this. All right, let me see some. You think Luffy would also, with Solo Saitama, how they be saying how good the show is? Saitama? Oh, you know what? I know who that is. I know who that is in the comments. Look, lame man, nigga. My real name, boy. I know who you are. Also, by the way, I'm not gonna say your government, but I can't see the chat while I'm full screen in the video. And nigga, you got my number, so you could just text me.
happens every single time. The island is saved, everyone cries, everyone parties, the Straw Hats leave, and then they do it again, and again, and again. And eventually, I wasn't even asking what would happen. I was only wondering when the sad backstory would start. I transformed into fortune teller Baba. And so when I would go to watch the anime adaptation of One Piece, there was no suspense for me. I mean, this shit was literally muscle memory for your boy. And this repetition becomes impossible to ignore when you notice how specific this trope becomes. Before anybody jumps to the comments, well, let's be real, I'm sure you guys are already in the comment section, but I want to be very clear about what I'm doing here. I'm not trying to say that every single chapter of One Piece is the same. I'm not talking about the travel arcs, the gag arcs, or even just the short transitions. I'm talking about the major narrative arcs that contain villains, stakes, and are supposed to have emotional payoffs with consequences. And so after my years of watching One Piece, I created this list. Because when you strip away the names, powers,
Important local figure needs protection. Try to backstory. Countdown or disaster. Luffy clash with powerful authority figures. Shots leak the island. Already accept the fact. I will say this. These 9 bullet points, they don't really seem like you can do a lot with this. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if he goes into this video and says how they specifically play out the formula sucks every time, I'm willing to maybe agree with his point.
And hype, One Piece relies on a very consistent narrative structure. This is the formula that the vast majority of One Piece arcs follow, sometimes perfectly, perhaps maybe missing a variable or two at most. The Straw Hats arrive at a new island. Someone important needs their protection. A traumatic backstory reframes the injustice. A corrupt authority is revealed. A larger power structure escalates the said conflict. There's a countdown to the disaster. Luffy clashes with a powerful authority figure. The crew leaves, and then the world reacts after the fact. Now, this isn't just my opinion. This is a clear pattern that occurs time after time, and we should talk about where it applies. Looking back to the East Blue of what I would consider to be the prototype here, we can already see that the foundation is in place, with arcs like Shellstown, Orangetown, Syrup Village, the Baratier, Arlong Park. You have many of these same variables with the oppressed locals, the flashback trauma, tyrant authority, Luffy intervenes, and then the crew moves on. So you can clearly see that Oda has developed his foundation here, and then he tries to build upon this in the Alabasta saga, with Whiskey Peak, Drum Island, and of course Alabasta. And this is where the modern One Piece arc becomes unmistakable in my opinion. Vivi needs protection, Crocodile controls the system, there's a literal countdown bomb, the government fallout, the bounties increase, and from this point on, the structure becomes the default. With the Skypiea arc, it's the same structure with just a different coat of paint. We get both Jaya and Skypiea here, and it's a different setting with the same mechanics. We meet Konis, who of course needs the Straw Hats' help, we get Eneru acting as a false god, and then we get the historical flashback that is just reframing the injustices that are occurring, the ticking level island disaster occurring towards the end of the arc, as always, and then the crew crew leaves. So cosmetically, yeah, it's different because it's a sky island, but honestly, it's just structurally identical. Then we move on to Water 7 and Enies Lobby. This arc doesn't break the formula. If anything, I would say it perfects it. This is one of the best arcs in all of One Piece, in my opinion. In these arcs, Robin is the
No, I think Whole Cake or Chopper's arc. Low key? No, it does have the same formula because of the fake doctors.
person who's in need of protection. The world government is the chief antagonist. There's a countdown, the initiation of the Buster Call. We get a massive aftermath where everybody's bounty jumps significantly. And then we move on to Thriller Bark, which is just another condensed variant of the formula. We have a contained setting, tragic backstories, Gecko Moria acting as the authority figure, Luffy has to beat Moria before the sunrise countdown, Kuma representing the outside escalation. Shorter arc overall, same structure. Admittedly, the Summit War does shake things up a little bit, but mostly abides by the formula. Luffy ends up going to a new location. The important person that needs saving here is Ace, of course. The entire saga is a rescue mission. The whole ticking clock concept is really the execution. And of course, we definitely get dramatic flashbacks here. Ace's childhood, Luffy's bond with him, Whitebeard's idea of family, and of course, the overall authority figure here is the world government publicly executing a political prisoner to maintain order. And you could say that the larger power structure escalating the conflict here could be any of the above. The admirals, the warlords, the pacifistas. I mean, there's so many of them. And of course, Luffy clashes with these figures again and again, even when he's clearly outmatched. And then we move into the new world where this formula is reasserted at a much larger scale. The Straw Hats arrive at Fishman Island, where of course, Shirahoshi needs protection. We get the status quo traumatic flashback involving deep historical trauma between Fisher Tiger and Otohime, the involvement of Hody Jones and the new Fishman Pirates, just representing a corrupt inherited authority born out of hatred, and we get the
Okay, we understand it. Wonder what his takeaway is going to be.
the larger power structure looming through the world government and the racial hierarchy. We get the classic countdown with the Noah falling on the island. Naturally, Luffy beats Hody Jones, the crew leaves, the world reacts, and Luffy's status escalates. Then we enter Punk Hazard. Once again, we get a new island. The children need to be saved. Flashbacks through Caesar's experiments. The world government and Doflamingo's henchmen escalate the conflict. The poison gas
around
creates
Punk
a literal
Hazard, I
ticking
just started
disaster.
reading the
Luffy
manga.
clashes with Caesar, the crew leaves, and then we go to Dressrosa. And I'm sure you guys are getting the overall theme
Then
at
I
this
switch
point, so I'm
back
going to try to
to
rapid fire through the
anime
next
on
couple of these arcs.
Dressrosa.
Dressrosa, protected figures, tragic flashbacks, false king, external power shielding him, the birdcage countdown, Luffy fights Dofi, massive world reaction. Move on to Zoe, oppressed people, historical trauma, imposed authority, the Yonko escalation with Kaido's crew, the annihilation threat of Zunisha, and then the crew moves on. Whole Cake Island, Sanji needs rescuing. We get an abusive backstory. We get more demonstrations of Yonko power from Big Mom and her crew, the countdown to the wedding, Luffy's clash with Big Mom, the escape, the global fallouts. Wano, we have the oppressed nation, generational trauma, corrupt rulers like Orochi, Yonko escalation, the falling island countdown of Onigashima, Luffy fights Kaido, and then the world order shifts. Everybody reacts. The Straw Hats leave. Egghead, Vegapunk and Bonnie need protection. Traumatic backstory of Kuma. Corrupt global authority. Admirals and the Elders escalate the conflict. The escape timer from Egghead Island. Luffy clashes with Kizaru. Worldwide consequences. Now let's stop. Let that breathe for a second. Different arcs, different aesthetics, different characters, but the same structure. You don't have to agree with me. In fact, I don't even think all of these arcs are bad. Some of them are great, but once you see the structure, you can't unsee it. I'm not saying One Piece is bad. I'm saying it's predictable by design. Every arc starts to feel familiar, no matter how good it is. Different islands, different villains, different stakes. Same pattern. And this carries us into Section 3, another problem that I have with One Piece. It's never just about helping people with One Piece. It's always something grander, like saving a kingdom. It can never just be a random person. Take Vivi, for example. She's not just a girl in trouble. She's the princess, and her kingdom is under threat. And the Straw Hats have to save Alabasta by defeating Crocodile. Cool, it works. Luffy punches the problem in the face, and then we move on. But then you do it again. The Straw Hats just so happen to meet Shirahoshi. And of course, what do you know? She's not just some random mermaid. She's the mermaid princess, the most important person on all of Fishman Island. And surprise, Fishman Island is in crisis. There's an extremist villain, racial tensions, generational hatred, centuries of oppression. And who shows up to fix all of that? The Straw Hats. And of course, Luffy punches out the problem, and then we move on. And in case anyone else thinks I'm cherry picking, oh look, there's another princess in another castle. I'm sure you guys are catching on at this point, but the Straw Hats meet Rebecca, another royal, another oppressed kingdom, another tyrant, Doflamingo. Say it with me, everybody. Luffy punches out the problem, and then we move on. Also, here's some more food for thought for you guys. Why is it that nobody in the One Piece universe can just be a person? You're probably asking, Shane, what do you mean by this? Well, what I mean is that everybody has to be somebody. Oda needs to give everybody some inflated sense of importance. For example, Luffy didn't just grow up with some random kid. It just had to be Gold Roger's son, the fucking pirate.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, the little girl in what's it called in Wano, she's just a person, unless like there's some reveal that I'm not aware of.
King. Because of course it was. And this isn't even the worst part. Luffy also grew up with Sabo, who I'm not exaggerating, is also born into nobility. He survives an incident that should have absolutely killed him, conveniently loses his memory.
He's born into nobility, but nobody gives a fuck about that city. Like, that's not important at all. It's like being the king of Marietta. Nigga, nobody cares.
and then grows up to become the second in command of the Revolutionary Army. And we're all just supposed to
He got
accept
that out
this
the
without thinking.
mud.
But I'll come back to Sabo later because I have a whole section on him. But moving forward, Sanji just couldn't be a regular cook. His backstory with Zeph, oh, clearly that wasn't good enough. It turns out that Sanji is a genetically enhanced royal prince from a bloodline of the evil Germa family. Yeah, this is really enhancing Sanji's character so much more. I'm so glad we did this. Also, look at Shanks. Shanks couldn't just be a strong pirate. Now his father has to be one of the 5 elders, therefore making Shanks royalty. Oh, but we can't forget that Shanks also has an estranged twin brother who just so happens to be a world noble. Why? Why couldn't Shanks just have a normal family? Do we even need to know Shanks' family? Seriously? Did Sanji really need a cyborg royal lineage? Was it necessary for Luffy to grow up with the king of the pirates' son? In my opinion, this isn't depth. I think it's an overconnection, and seriously, despite how big the One Piece world is, I think these overt connections make the world feel smaller. And to the One Piece fans defending this, ask yourself this. Was it really necessary that we had to find out the Queen of the Beast Pirates was Frankie's father? But Shane, they're both cyborg.
Wait. What? What the fuck? Are you serious? Oh my god. Are you dead ass? Nah, hell nah. Nah, hell nah. That's funny.
Got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
I could have gone the rest of my life without knowing this. Everybody has to be connected in some weird, intricate way. It amazes me that Oda will tell us some useless piece of trash knowledge like this, but we get no information still after 25 plus years later about the Will of D, and we only get a tidbit of information about the Void Century, essentially confirming what we already knew, that it was a global war, and that the world government had erased history on purpose. Now, to all the One Piece fans here, I'm not trying to be pretentious, I'm just imploring you to acknowledge that as the story has gone on, more characters are revealed to be either royalty, the children of legends, connected to the world-shaping families, directly tied to the world government or the 5 elders in some way, and overall, as large as the One Piece world is, it becomes claustrophobic when every single character is connected to one another in some weird way like this. Everyone has to be super.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Alright guys, try to keep up with me for the next one here. Through time travel shenanigans, we get to meet Kozuke Momonosuke, who I will refer to as Momo, who turns out to be royalty, because of course he is. And once again, the Straw Hat—
I feel like that part was actually masterfully executed. Like, the reveal of Momo being royalty is not just him being royalty just to be royalty. It's actually, the whole time, Momo is this scared little kid that acts like a little bitch, right? But the reveal of him being royalty, Luffy has been hanging out with him the whole time. And Luffy is a real nigga. So he's just like, I don't care that you royalty. You need to show me that I should follow you. And then he changes his behavior and his actions. And then Luffy's like, okay, all right, now I'm willing to listen to what you're saying. And, you know, at the part that I'm at in Wano, he returns to his kingdom and he's the missing piece that leads the rebel army. I think that is really well done. I mean, sure, it fits into the pattern, but there's a real reason for that to happen.
Hats have to overthrow the evil villain Kaido and restore his kingdom. And of course, the Straw Hats bring forth restoration by once again Luffy punching out the problem, and we move on. And it was at this point in the story after Wano that I completely checked out, because the solution is almost always the same. Notice how I'm saying almost always the same. Oda dresses up this fine veneer of a different island, different costumes, and introducing a different villain each arc, but all of it, every single bit of it, serves the exact same narrative function. The only thing that ever changes in this story is the power label the story slaps on the antagonist. At first, it's, oh, we're just dealing with a marine captain or an average pirate. What are we gonna do? Oh, just get Luffy to punch it. Okay. And then it's, oh, this one's a warlord of the sea. All right, gotta be careful here. Just get Luffy to punch it in the face. Okay, and now we're at the point in the series where it's, oh shit, this is getting serious. We're dealing with the Emperors now. This villain is stronger than all the previous villains combined. And the solution is still the same. Luffy punches it in the face. Now, I have a question for all the One Piece fans who are obviously seething in my comment section right now. Do you guys not realize that this is just a different island, different costumes, different villain, but it's the same narrative function, beat for beat, time after time? At this point in the series, Luffy could go Gear 5th, scream Gum Gum Galaxy Cluster, Elephant Nut Buster, Red Rifle Supernova Sloppy Toppy Attack. He could knock out time after time. At this point in the series, Luffy could go Gear 5th, scream Gum Gum Galaxy Cluster, Elephant Nut Buster, Red Rifle Supernova Sloppy Toppy Attack. He could knock out all of the warlords, all of the emperors, every single admiral. He could collapse Marijois. He could beat the Gorosei's ass. Luffy could slap Eam off of his throne and then stretch his fist down into Gold D. Rogers' grave and grab his corpse and fucking strangle him. And you know what, guys? I would feel nothing, because I already know how every fight in this story resolves. I don't even feel the escalation anymore. People act like raising the power ceiling automatically raises the narrative stakes. And this would almost be true if death actually existed in this universe, and I'll talk about that in full later. But I'm sorry guys, there's no amount of beautiful Toei animation and flashing colors that's gonna be a substitute for good writing. Luffy could scream his head off and throw the best punches in the universe, but if the arc isn't well written, then I'm not gonna be invested in the narrative. And when we talk about narrative, oh my god, One Piece
I hope I start liking the show more by the time Gear 5 comes up.
has a pacing problem, and there is so much narrative padding that coats this series. One Piece doesn't just have slow pacing, it has hostile pacing. It took Moist Critical 5 years to finish this series, and he was watching it with one pace, which skips all of the filler. Your boy did not have that same luxury. I was never the same after the Davy Back fight round 2. But in all seriousness, One Piece constantly stalls itself through contrivances that exist for one reason only: to delay progress. Uh-oh, Luffy is stuck in the pool at Arlong Park. Luffy gets swallowed by a snake in Skypiea and thinks he's inside a cave, because again, this main character has room temperature IQ. Oopsie, Zoro fell into the chimney. What's that you say? We have to wait 20 chapters before Luffy can arrive on the rooftop in Wano? Now, we all know that these are contrivances that Oda deliberately puts in here to try to stagnate the plot further. And of course, you don't want the clash with the main villain to happen immediately. But after a certain point, some of this stuff just becomes ridiculous. The stalling in the narrative.
There's this thing that I need to say, and I feel it in my soul. There is no, I repeat, no reason why Luffy versus Katakuri should have been 50 episodes. There is no reason why Luffy versus Katakuri should have been 50 episodes. There is no reason why Luffy versus Katakuri should have been 50 episodes. There is no reason why Luffy should have been fighting Katakuri doing the same shit. Why? I can't punch him. He seems to move before I can punch him. For 50 episodes. There's no fucking reason that shit should have been 50 episodes. Moving on. I agree with him on this part. At least kinda.
Padding really draw out these arcs. And at this point in One Piece, if you don't like one of the modern arcs, oh man, I'm sorry, but you gotta strap in because there is no escape. No short detour here, no palate cleanser, nothing. And this is exactly what happened to me. Wano was a particularly hard arc for me to get through. The pacing of Wano destroyed me, and I just found myself asking, Oda, how many days are we gonna be in Wano for? And the next day!
Yep. How many motherfucking days is Luffy gonna be in jail? How many episodes? When is he gonna get out? And the next day.
Next day, and the 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 next day.
Now, I struggled getting through Wano, not because of the island itself, I actually thought that was pretty interesting, but I just really couldn't get behind Kaido. And unfortunately for me, I was stuck with this guy for fucking hundreds of chapters. Now, I don't like to use crude labels like this, so I'm not gonna say that Kaido is a stupid villain, but I would say that he is a little bit underdeveloped, maybe half-cooked. He doesn't really have a personality. I mean, we get a backstory with Rocks, Big Mom, how he got his devil fruit, the rivalry with Odin, I think that was okay. And then we just spend hundreds of chapters on this. But a backstory does not equate to a personality. You can give this character all the lore in the world, and it doesn't mean that he's well written. When we boil Kaido down to his essence, what do we really take away from him? Well, we know he's strong. We know he's an alcoholic,
Drunk
and we know he
man.
wants to unalive himself. I mean, are we really describing one of the emperors of the sea or my stepfather? And all of these traits lead to one of the dumbest introductions for a character I have ever seen. Kaido is introduced to us as he attempts to unalive himself by jumping off of the Sky Island. Kaido in this chapter makes a big impact, both literally and metaphorically. And I'll be entirely honest with you guys, when I first saw this in the anime, I thought this was one of the most badass character introductions of all time. Sad to say this, but I specifically remember a younger version of myself tweaking out on the couch, being like,
Oh, I can't wait for the Straw Hats to take on Kaido. Oh my god.
but then you think about this scene for any longer than 2 seconds and you realize how stupid it is. You realize, oh, Kaido is a Devil Fruit user. So let me ask you One Piece fans a very simple question. If Kaido really wanted to die, then why didn't Kaido just go play in the ocean, huh? Oh, and I can already hear you guys typing in the comment section.
But Shane, Kaido wanted an honorable death on the battlefield.
Okay, let's take that premise, alright? Let's say Kaido wanted to die on the battlefield. Then why did he dodge Zoro's attack? Why did he build the Beast Empire? Why would he avoid things that would kill him if this stupid fuck really wanted to die? If you want to die, you don't spend hundreds of chapters actively preventing it. So it's either Kaido doesn't actually want to die, or the concept was never never truly thought through by Oda. And this is the concept for a character who becomes the backbone of a multi-year-long arc. And this was one of my main problems with Wano. You're trapped in this seemingly endless arc with a character who you couldn't care less about. And while the plot is stalling, we're also being fed the same cycle of gags endlessly for decades. How many times am I gonna have to listen to Brooke wanting to see some panties?
Oh
like, at
my
this point, just
God.
show the man some fucking underwear. This
No,
stuff happens
I don't
over
agree
and
with
over
that.
again.
No, I don't co-sign that.
We get Sanji, his nose bleeding at the sight of a woman. So many times that Oda actually escalates this into a plot point. Sanji gets a nosebleed underwater and practically bleeds out from glancing at a mermaid. Think about how insane this is. Here we are in an arc with racial tension, historical oppression, political extremism, the legacy of Fisher Tiger, and the driving plot point is, oh, Sanji is bleeding too much because he's horny. This, in my opinion, isn't comedy. I think it's just tonal sabotage. And yes, I know that One Piece is supposed to be a goofy series. I've never had a problem with the majority of the character gags. In fact, I think some of them can be quite funny, like Zoro getting lost, for instance. I'm not saying that the series can't be goofy, but eventually my patience with One Piece really starts to run out. Because we've gotten these gags hundreds of times, and honestly, at some point I just consider this to be wasted narrative space. We could be using this same time to resolve some of the mysteries that Oda himself has introduced hundreds of chapters ago. Oda has introduced so many mysteries into the One Piece worlds, and all of the One Piece fans, they just eat this shit up. The resolution, it doesn't even matter. The Void Century, the Will of D, Joy Boy, the Ancient Kingdom, the Ancient Weapons, the true nature of devil fruits, the world government's origin, how did Blackbeard get his powers, where is Laugh Tale located, what does Eam really look like, and of course, what is the One Piece? And instead of answering any of these inquiries, Oda chooses to do this instead.
Good question. For another time.
Instead, we get hints, teases, half sentences, and silhouettes, just more vague statements that promise answers later on. And of course, I'm not expecting all of these to be answered right away. But I mean, come on, at this point, you think we would have some answers to this universe. Do you guys know how long it took for Oda to actually show us Dr. Vegapunk's face? After all of the years of these bullshit silhouettes and purposely obscuring his head? Hundreds of chapters, years of waiting. You guys ready for this? Was this design really worth over a decade of silhouette hype? Is there any real payoff from seeing this? Oda seems far more interested in setting up intrigue for his series than actually paying it off. And for every mystery that gets partially answered, we get 3 new ones dropped on us. We get so much world building in this series, so much lore density, and Oda excels at this. He does a great job. I don't think Oda is a bad author. All I'm asking for is a little bit of narrative closure here, because when everything's a mystery, nothing feels meaningful. And this brings me to my next critique. Oda tries to create a fake sense of meaning through urgency. The race against finality, or the ticking clock, is one of Oda's favorite tools. One Piece does this thing that I like to call Dragon Ball time. Remember when Frieza tells Goku, "The planet will explode in 5 minutes," and then these 5 minutes proceed to turn into 20 episodes? Well, Oda does have his own version of this. And it's because so many of the arcs ended the same way, with either the Straw Hats escaping or winning, that Oda has to inject this artificial countdown so it feels as though we have some sort of urgency or stakes. Now, I'm going to be listing multiple examples of Oda using this narrative crutch, but I'm sure, just because of the sheer length and girth of One Piece, that I'm missing something here. But this aside, let's start off with Little Garden, where we have the Wax Candle of Doom. Here we have a countdown where the Straw Hats have to escape the wax before they essentially turn into statues. Then we move into Alabasta, where we have a literal countdown with the bomb about to detonate. In Skypiea, we also have a race against the clock, where Luffy has to stop Enel before he completely erases the island. In Water 7, we have the Aqua Laguna, which is just looming like a natural disaster deadline. Then Enies Lobby with the Buster Call countdown.
I will say, with something like the Black, or whatever the fuck, the natural disaster, it was cool. I really didn't notice it. I thought it was nice. That one was built into how the island worked. You know, they were looking around, it's like, why is everybody, going on the top floors? It's like, yeah, well, every few years or months we have a big flood that washes through the town. So we have to put everything up. And that was really cool. That's like a nice little fact about the place that you're at that doesn't exist anywhere else, that also serves as a timer, like, hey, we need to hurry up and get up out of here before the flood takes us out.
Island is completely destroyed. Thriller Bark, we have the Sunrise countdown, where Luffy needs to beat the piss out of Moria and return all the shadows before the sun rises. Marineford is pretty obvious. You have to save Ace before the execution schedule. Fisherman Island, the Noah falling, crashing into the island. We gotta stop that. Punk Hazard, we have the race against the poison gas. You gotta get to safety. Dressrosa, the birdcage, enclosing all the people and killing them. Wano, Onigashima.
That shit took forever to close.
Is about to crash into the capital. Gotta stop it. And my personal favorite, Big Mom wanting birthday cake. Gotta get this bitch dessert before she and destroys the entire island in a rampage. But my entire point, and the crux of what I'm saying here, is that urgency without risk is nothing but theater. And this is why the race against the clock doesn't work for me anymore in One Piece. This countdown exists to simulate stakes that don't even exist. Oda uses these various countdowns to give you an artificial feeling that the tensions and stakes are being raised. But more importantly, Oda uses these countdowns to truly avoid consequence, because real stakes would require real loss, and that's something that One Piece refuses to do. And this brings us to what is, in my opinion, the single most egregious, disgustingly narrative, cowardly thing that Oda does in all of One Piece. Fake out deaths. This is not a nitpick. This is not a handful of mistakes. This is a pattern that is so severe throughout One Piece, it has deprived the series of all narrative tension. There are so many fucking meaningless characters in this series, and yet Oda refuses to kill any of them out of narrative cowardice. Oda wants you to feel as though these characters are dying without ever committing to them actually being dead. Death stops meaning anything in this universe.
What's that one girl with the blue hair? I know that doesn't narrow it down, but that one girl with the blue hair, hold on. Right. This girl. Is this one? Is she dead for real? Is she dead for real? Because if she's not dead for real, then he's absolutely right. Let's see. Wait. It's a daughter of the lake. Higher identity. She in conversation. Staged a killing. This isn't even permanent. Oh no, that's actually horrible. That's actually horrible. They spend episode after episode. She's dead. She was killed. That is actually horrible. That's actually horrible. That's fucking crazy. Nah, that's actually nuts, bro. That's fucking crazy. Wow.
There's a line of dialogue in the anime adaptation of One Piece in the Wano arc between Sanji and Chopper. I found this line to be beautifully ironic, and honestly, it acts as an allegory and like a thesis statement for the entire series of One Piece, even though this is 100% unintentional on Oda's part. Sanji saves Chopper from Queen and the Beast Pirates, okay? And he says to him, "Don't cry, you fool. How many times have we seen miracles?" And on the surface, this is meant to be comforting, a statement of hope. Maybe it's inspirational. But miracles stop being miracles when they happen constantly. They stop being extraordinary. They stop meaning anything. A miracle, by definition, is supposed to be a rupture in reality, something that should not happen but does so anyway. Yet in One Piece, miracles aren't rare interruptions. This is just the default setting of the universe. Characters survive explosions that level cities. They endure fatal wounds with no lasting consequences. They fucking die, only to walk it back an arc later with a bandage and a joke. And when everything is survivable and every sacrifice is reversible, nothing is truly at stake in this universe. And that's why, reading this story for me, One Piece has quietly undermined itself the entire time. Oda wants us to cry. He wants us to believe that a moment is tragic, final and devastating, but then it's that same pattern, over and over. No matter how bad things look, everything will be fine, everyone will survive, and the world will reset. And that's why Sanji's line becomes the perfect metaphor for all of this. Don't cry. You've seen this before. And that's exactly right. We have seen this before, so many times that death has lost its meaning. Now, I could end this segment right here. The point is already clearly made, but instead, I'm going to do something far less abstract. I'm going to go through every fake out death that I could find in One Piece, one by one, and let's see if anyone can still seriously argue that this doesn't hollow out the stakes. So to start off, we have to trace our steps back to the East Blue, where we have the Mary. No, not the ship, even though One Piece fans probably count that as a death. I'm talking about Kaya's butler, Mary. Kuro literally slashes this man open. We see the blood all over the place. We get an emotional beat, the dramatic framing. But of course he's alive. Moving on, we have Gin from Don Krieg's crew. Severely poisoned. This is treated like a death sentence, but we'll never see this character again. Nope, he's fine. Already, we are this early into the story, and it's telling you, don't trust what you're seeing. And then we move into the Broke Works arc, where the explosions are basically confetti at this point. We have Mr. 9, who is blown up at point-blank range by Mr. 5. I mean, look at this man's face. He is literally eating this shit. And this scene is treated like an emotional death, with Vivi screaming as this man is essentially blown into orbit. But nope, he's alive. And speaking of other characters that survived, we have Miss Monday, who is also blown up at point-blank range. Don't worry, guys, she's completely fine. She only took took a grenade to the face, and we just see her fiery corpse, right, with Vivi screaming. But she's good, don't worry, she's still alive. And then we have Igram, who's blown up by Robin. Like, they dropped both the little boy and the fat man on this guy, and he comes back, I shit you not. This man strolls back into the story. He saunters on in with one single band-aid on his face. One band-aid, 0 explanations. You wanna know how he survived? Fuck you, that's how. We don't get an explanation. This is genuinely Looney Tunes type shit here. And then of course we have Pell, probably the most infamous fake-out death in the entire series. So Oda writes this emotional scene, essentially giving Pell an entire chapter of his own leading up to the sacrifice. And then we get the sacrifice itself. Pell carrying a bomb meant to destroy the entire country of Alabasta. It's heroic, emotional. We see the bomb go off, and this thing looks like a nuclear explosion. This bomb looks like something ripped straight out of the Subspace Emissary from Brawl. And Pell, after getting this emotional chapter leading up to his supposed death, he survives. Just somehow, don't even think about it, just turn off your brain and accept Oda's work, okay? And it was from this point on in One Piece where death became completely optional. And then moving on, we get Mr. 2, who fittingly has 2 fake-out deaths, one at the end of Alabasta and the second at Impel Down. But his second fake-out death is especially egregious. He's literally asked by Magellan, any last words? I don't know how anybody can defend this. I mean, the phrase any last words is universal language of storytelling, meaning this character is dead, except no, of course he survives, and then he fucking survives again, and then he survives again. And then at this point in the story, I don't even believe what I'm being shown. And then we move to Skypiea, where we meet Pagaya, Konis' father, who, in my opinion, gets one of the most absurd fake-out deaths in the entire series. This guy gets an entire death scene written out for him, where he heroically pushes his daughter out of the way, taking a fatal strike from an L's lightning. It was an emotional and well-written scene, hit me right in the heart. And at the end of the arc, Konis tells the Straw Hats about Pagaya's passing. Chopper saying, "Don't tell me." Nami looking devastated. Konis on the brink of tears. Sanji looking distraught. Luffy's upset. But just then, Pagaya returns from the great beyond for Oda to break the fourth wall, and for Pagaya to apologize for still being alive.
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
I mean, this is Oda admitting he knows how ridiculous this is. And the sad thing is, this isn't even the only fake-out death in Skypiea. We get to see Bellamy about to be executed with his neck literally on the chopping block, but of course he shows up later, he's completely fine, so don't worry about it. And then we move on to Jaguar D. Saul. This is gonna be controversial for you guys, because I know there are gonna be some One Piece clowns that defend this. This is emotional manipulation without payoff. This is one of the most emotionally dishonest fake-out deaths in the entire series. Oda milks the hell out of the scene. Pages and pages. Robin crying. Saul telling her, "You have to live, Robin." I mean, and this is framed as a complete character death and foundational trauma for Robin. Except, fast forward hundreds of chapters later, Saul is alive. And I know some of you One Piece fans are going to try some retroactive justification talking about how Robin lost Professor Clover and her mother, so therefore it's completely fine because she still has a traumatic backstory, and that Oda actually wrote himself a way out with this because of the Ice Time Capsule attack, even though in reality Aokiji froze Saul with the attack Ice Time. But no, you don't get to do this. I mean, if you want death to matter in your universe, you don't take it back after you milk this shit for tears. Once again, this comes off as Oda trying to emotionally manipulate the audience without any real stakes being involved. And then we move on to Spondum. His spine is snapped, completely broken asunder, and simply put, this man should be dead, but he's not. Why? Oh, because nobody dies in One Piece, that's why. Then we move on to Thriller Bark, where we get Dr. Hogback, who is crushed by ores, a giant weighing hundreds of tons. He lives. Why? I don't know, because Oda refuses to commit to anything. And this is why I say death does not exist in this universe. We have characters with essentially 0 narrative importance, and Oda makes these guys immortal. This character, Lakuba, that's right, he has a name. The pirate at the auction house who bites off his own tongue. It's horrific. It's shocking.
Oh
and yet
yes,
he's still
that's
alive.
right. I remember that.
Like, Oda won't even kill the characters that don't matter. Oh, this shit is terrible. And then we move to Fishman Island, okay? We get Vanderdecken, impaled by a trident. He's alive. Then we get Mocha, okay? She is a child who is subjected to human experimentation, eats a fuck ton of poisonous candy. It's treated like a tragedy, and then of course, she's fine. She's fine. Brownbeard, this special snowflake, gets 2 fake-out deaths. Also a side note, you know the fake-out deaths are getting bad when even minor characters, fucking nothing burger characters like this, have multiple fake-out deaths, only to later show up completely fine. Then we get to Whole Cake Island where we meet Charlotte Moscato, one of Big Mom's numerous kids that she's pumped out over the years. This man should be dead, flat out. Big Mom rips this man's soul out of his body, and we are told in the manga that he's dead. And this is framed as cruel, final, and irreversible. But then he's just fine. And of course, we get no explanation. I mean, there's no lasting consequence, no visible damage, no narrative cost. I mean, this fuck just shows up and he's watching Vegapunk's broadcast casually. And as if this wasn't enough, there's also Charlotte Opera. And the less said about his character design, the better. But this character also has his soul drained by Big Mom. And we can't confirm 100% that he is alive. And we can't classify this 100% as a fake-out death. But I would bet you everything that I have in my bank account, which, to be fair, isn't that much. But I would still bet it that this man is alive. And then we get to the champion of fake-out deaths, Peckhams. This man deserves his own category as the king of fake-outs. He doesn't die just once, nor twice, but thrice. Shot repeatedly by Beijing. Completely fine. The second time,
Okay. That one, I have to defend that one because that one's really good, actually. Look at him. He's a lion. Clearly, you can see that he's a lion. All lion face and lion tongue and all this shit, right? But what you don't know is that he's actually a lion turtle. So, like, he has a really hard shell. And it's like, I survived because, you know, I have a shell. And from there on, you see him with this turtle shell. I think that's good. I don't exactly remember the second one, but let's just watch.
this man is shot again by Beiji, this time at point-blank range, off of a cliff, into the ocean as a Devil Fruit user. Still alive. The third and final time we see this guy, he's turned into a literal pincushion. And let's be honest, he's still alive. Until I see a corpse, a grave, and a funeral, I'm assuming he's alive. Now, I want to talk about Pounds, because this fake-out death isn't annoying, it's just genuinely insulting at this point. Pounds' entire character revolves around one thing, him never getting to love his own daughters. Never got to hold them, never raised them, never got to be a part of their lives. And so, of course, Oda tries to milk Pound like a cow, and in his final moments, he has Pound congratulate Chiffon on her wedding. And Pound accepts that his love will never be returned by his own daughter, because she never truly knew him. And this is framed as a tragedy. It's framed as final. We have Oven in the background like the Grim Reaper stormtrooper raising his blade to Pound's head, but then Pound is alive. Like, this shit is ridiculous. It is emotional fraud. You don't get to build this entire tragedy around irreversible loss, milk these fucking tears, and then undo it without any consequence or care. And my question to the One Piece fans, when Oda pulls shit like this, why should I trust any emotional moment in this story? These fake out deaths are so corrosive that they don't just cheapen death, they cheapen the overall emotion that I feel when I'm supposed to be reading or watching this story. I hate this fake out death so much because it's not just simply a fake out death, it's a fake tragedy. Pound reunites with Lola and Chiffon. Yay, all's well that ends well, happy, 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 fuck you. And then we move on to Wano, and at this point, this stops being a character problem and it just becomes a world problem. Like, nobody dies in this universe. Because in One Piece, not even the animals are allowed to die. In Wano, we see Kozuki Oden slice this massive boar cleanly in half. It's a moment of shock and a display of Oden's strength. And of course, you guys know where I'm going with this. The pig is completely fine. He comes back, he's rocking a couple stitches on him, looking like a football. You know what, Oda, I'll give you a get out of jail free card with this one because it's funny, but I mean, this is still ridiculous all the same. But this aside, Wano abuses even more fake out deaths. Warden Babanuki literally explodes himself from the inside out. He uses the self-destruct attack, and he's completely fine afterwards. Kinemon gets multiple fake out deaths. He's impaled, he's beaten by Kaido. Oda fake kills this man again and again and again, and he's always fine. At a certain point, like, you just stop reacting. You just watch the shit and you're like, I don't even care. Orochi also got multiple fake out deaths, with him being decapitated and burned. Both times, he's just fine. And in addition to Orochi, Kanjuro also got a fake out death, just because why not? Now let's talk about Dr. Vegapunk. And yes, I know you guys are gonna be screaming in the comment section. Vegapunk was technically killed, okay? Kizaru put this man down, his body dies. Yeah, but here's the problem, guys. Vegapunk still isn't gone, because all the satellites still survive. His consciousness is backed up into Punk records. His knowledge, the thing that defines him, still exists. His mind lives on, even though his body was destroyed. And let's be honest, guys, Oda is 100% going to be putting Vegapunk's consciousness back into a body later on. So I'm gonna ask you guys what actually died here then, because it sure as fuck isn't the character, it's not his influence on the One Piece series, so we are left with zero consequences once again. But don't worry, guys, Dr. Vegapunk will be revived soon, but until then, you can enjoy Dr. Vegapants, a literal carbon copy of Dr. Vegapunk, except he wears panties on his head. Hilarious. Earlier One Piece faked deaths by saying, well, actually, they survived. And now, in the modern day of One Piece, we are still faking deaths by saying, but they died, but actually their mind lives on. It's a different method, but the same narrative cowardice. Oda always wants the emotional weight of death, while always giving himself an out. But after this many fake out deaths, my problem isn't who survived the story. It's that One Piece has taught me to not believe it when someone dies. One Piece has lost my trust. Every emotional moment in this story becomes nothing more than a sad performance rather than anything of lasting consequence. So at this point, you may be wondering, okay, Shane, well, who actually does die in One Piece? Well, I'm gonna break it to you. The majority of deaths in this series occur in flashbacks. Flashbacks are where Oda is the most comfortable killing off his characters. Now, almost every character of importance in this series is required to have a tragic flashback, and almost every tragic flashback requires that someone has to die. You want to talk about being formulaic? This pattern is impossible to ignore, and it applies to every single person in the Straw Hats. Let's start off with Nami. Her mother figure, Belmir, is executed by Arlong. For Zoro, we get the death of Kuina, and this occurs very abruptly, but this flashback defines his entire motivation to become the world's strongest swordsman. Sanji, his mother Sora dies in the flashback, and her death exists solely to explain why Sanji is different from the rest of his Germa siblings. Chopper, we get a flashback with Dr. Heerluck, and I mean, this death is so...
Dr. Heerluck. Hold up, his writing is this fire? No. This is one of the best arcs in the fucking show. This is one of the best arcs in the show. Fucking perfect. Fucking beautiful. I believe that cherry blossoms will bloom on a snow island. Nah, that nigga hard, bro. Come on, man.
Death is so iconic in the series that this is basically Chopper's entire character. Usopp's mother, Banshina, passes away when he's young, and his father, Yasopp, essentially abandons him so he can carry out his pirate journey. Frankie, we have, of course, Fishman Tom, who is executed in a flashback. I mean, again, this is allegedly, because we don't even see the death, so I'm going to assume he's alive. Robin, we have O'Hara being wiped out, we get Dr. Clover being killed, her mother is killed, and then Jaguar D. Saul dies. Of course, until he doesn't. Brooke lost his entire crew in a flashback, Jinbei lost Fisher Tiger. I mean, right there alone, I've already encompassed every single Straw Hat having a tragic backstory with one person dying at a minimum. And this isn't even touching upon the plethora of other One Piece characters that have somebody important to them die in a flashback. Every single one of these deaths always happen before the story starts, or safely outside of the present timeline. Now let me be clear, I'm not saying that all flashback deaths are bad. I think they can be powerful, I think they can be effective, they can add depth to characters. But with this said, when every character goes through some version of the same emotional blueprint, this shit stops feeling organic. And each time the flashback begins, I'm no longer wondering what's going to happen, I'm just waiting to see who's eventually going to die. And once you've seen enough of this stuff, I mean, my emotional response just gets worn down to a nub. It becomes fucking dulled, okay? And it's not because the themes aren't serious. I've said this before, these are serious themes, and One Piece handles them maturely. But it's because the delivery is so damn predictable. You know the beats, you know the pacing, you know there's gonna be some sort of loss in these flashbacks. And this tragedy has become routine. It stops hitting. And these flashbacks don't just dilute death in One Piece. I mean, they can destroy the pacing, which I already touched upon earlier, but this is especially true during fights. I mean, if you look at Sanji versus Queen, for example, we're in the middle of a high-stakes fight, and then suddenly we need to stop everything because maybe Sanji hit a woman? As if Oda was actually going to turn Sanji into a wife beater. Be serious. Come on now. And then we cut to more flashbacks with drama with the Germa family, flashback to Zeph, Sanji's childhood suffering, moral panic, and I shit you not, in the middle of this allegedly high-stakes fight, we have time to give the mouse a flashback. After a fight with the Yonko commander, we really needed to have a flashback with Sanji.
I'm sure that makes more sense in context. I'm sure it does.
reminiscing about how he used to cook for the fucking Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And this is supposed to be emotional depth. This is nothing more than narrative interruption. I'm sorry to break this to you, Oda. I do not care about this mouse. I could wipe my ass with this thing. This thing just continues to interrupt the fight. The fight needs to stop every 5 seconds so the story can reassure all of the readers that Sanji is still Sanji. Instead of letting the fight actually play out, Oda feels the need to hit the brakes every 5 seconds, rewind, and explain the character to us again. These flashbacks are not being used to enhance the story in any meaningful way. It's nothing more than a crutch. And when you need to stop the fight 5 times over to re-justify a character we already understand, it becomes ridiculous. And at this point, you're probably all saying, okay, Shane, we get it. Fake out deaths suck. Flashback deaths are formulaic. But surely some people die in the current storyline of One Piece, right? And yes, they do. But here's the catch. When these characters do die in the present, they're either 1, completely insignificant, or 2, emotionally disposable. And this brings us to the present day deaths within the series, starting off with Higuma, a mountain bandit from the first couple chapters of One Piece. This character was completely insignificant. He was taken out by the Lord of the Coast within the first couple chapters of One Piece, and I think it's fair to say that nobody gives a fuck about him. And then we have Mr. 11, who we know literally nothing about except for the fact that 1, he's dead, and 2, he worked for Baroque Works at some point. So, great start to the list here. Then we get Ashura Doji. Yeah, this character fucking sucks, man. Like, I was watching the Wano arc, and I genuinely had to ask myself, am I really watching One Piece, or is this my 600-pound life? This man is not raiding Onigashima. This man is raiding the fucking ice cream truck. Oda wants me to feel the emotional weight of Ashura Doji's death, but the only weight I'm feeling is strictly gravitational from his fat ass. Ashura Doji's
Okay, bro. I like this guy. I like the part where he's like, do you have any idea how long 20 years is? You know? And then they do the fucking flashback and all the goons die in the flashback.
And he's around like just long enough for you to remember his fucking name. I mean, he just shows up, he grunts, he drinks, he's sad about Odin, and then he dies. And in the story, it's like, oh, well, somebody died, so you have to be emotional. No, the emotion has to be earned, and Ashura Doji never earned the shit. I think the majority of the scabbards become interchangeable as the Wano arc starts to progress further, but I would bet you that he's nobody's favorite scabbard. Ashura's my favorite scabbard, Shane. Shut up, no he's not. Ashura Doji dies from an explosion, which is definitely surprising because we've seen so many characters survive these before. Speaking of the scabbards, we have Izo, who dies from only a few finger pistol attacks from the CP0 agents. These deaths mean nothing. They add nothing to the overall plot. They don't change the story whatsoever. It's a shame these characters don't have the durability of, say, Igrim, Pell, or maybe even fucking Pagaya, because then they'd probably be alive. No, but seriously, to the One Piece fans here, like, try to explain this shit. Try to justify how Igrim, a fucking nobody, could survive an island-sized explosion. Meanwhile, Izo, one of the former commanders of the Whitebeard Pirates, gets taken out by a couple finger pistol attacks. Logically, this makes sense. Maybe if you're getting hit in the head with Usopp's 10-ton hammer. And this is where the writing becomes inconsistent, because you have a Yonko division commander like Izo dying to a few finger pistols, but then you'll have other characters like Eustace Kid just getting obliterated by Shanks, a nuclear warhead being dropped on him, and I don't even blink. One Piece has made death so arbitrary that I no longer trust it, even when the story asks me to. But this aside, we have other characters that die, like Monet, the bird woman from Punk Hazard, and, you know, let's be honest, why would I care about this big bird-looking bitch? Then we have Pedro. Oh, wait, no, that's not Pedro, that's Absalom. He's the invisible sex pervert. He dies. Why the fuck would I care about him? Then we do get to Pedro's death, and Pedro explodes himself, accomplishing essentially nothing except for trying to free the Sunny. And this is a character that in real time the Straw Hats met about only a week ago. And then we get this emotional camera pan with all of the Straw Hats reacting to Pedro's death. But I mean, as for me, guys, I'm sorry.
Well, it's emotional because he actually died.
We barely knew anything about this character. He comes in, he fucking shouts.
No, you know what, bro? Nah, that nigga had aura, bro. He had aura, bro. He came in, he was on a mission, bro. I fuck with Pedro. We all fuck with Pedro.
Sues himself, and that's it. But moving on, we do get the deaths of both Kanjuro and Orochi towards the tail end of the Wano arc, but because these characters were both given multiple fake-out deaths, it really took the wind out of my sail. So inevitably, when these characters did die, I wasn't even sure if it was finalized or not, or if it was just another fake-out death. But moving on, we do get Saturn's death, and you would think this one would matter because he's one of the Gorosei, one of the highest authorities alive in the entire One Piece series. But emotionally, I mean, who the fuck cares? We spend thousands of chapters with this guy, watching him sit around, we don't know him, he's never humanized or explored in any meaningful way. So when you put his death in a series that has trained me over and over again not to trust death when it happens, I don't feel any sense of shock, I don't get catharsis out of watching him die, I don't feel any loss, I don't feel the relief, I just move on. But I want to be very clear about something. I do think there are deaths in One Piece, in the current storyline, outside of flashbacks, that do work, and I want to give Oda credit for this. For example, Yasui's death in Wano, I would consider this to be a good death.
Oh,
it's public, it's
yeah,
humiliating.
bro. You know what? I'm not done with Wano. But I actually, low-key, I was wondering if Yasue was actually dead. But that's a great character reveal, great character death. I like the hit his village, too. You know, the reason everybody smiles all the time.
It's deliberate. He goes out protecting others. And this death has meaning. I just wish we had more time with this character so I could appreciate him more. But this death reinforces themes throughout the entire arc of Wano. It leaves a scar in the readers. The only problem here is it's isolated, and once again, we don't get a ton of time with this character. Speaking of good deaths, Whitebeard. Whitebeard's death is incredible. I think it's one of the best scenes in One Piece. This man dies standing on his feet. An Emperor of the Sea falls. I mean, this moment matters. You can feel it. The world of One Piece changes because of his death. And Oda deserves credit for this. And now to talk about the death that I'm sure you guys have been screaming about in the comment section the entire time. Ace's death. I think this also works. I'll say this, I did find it frustrating for Ace to turn around just because Akainu is trash-talking Whitebeard, especially when you consider that Luffy, Whitebeard, and so many of these crews from the New World are risking everything to save him. So in my opinion, Ace fucks up here, and this mistake actually has consequences because Ace dies. The story doesn't undo it, and it's not a fake-out death. Ace's death breaks Luffy. He's already separated from his crew, and I would honestly say the tone of the series starts to shift a little bit. And for once, it seems as though One Piece is going to allow this loss to be real. And then Oda panics, because Sabo was introduced a few chapters later, right after Ace's death. And I know there are going to be some Sabo defenders in the comment section. You guys can cry about the third Sake Cup and tell me that the S on Ace's arm always stood for Sabo. I mean, maybe that's true, but let's be honest, the S could have stood for anything. It could have been symbolic, it could have just been a design quirk, but if you guys really want to ride Oda's nutsack and tell me that Sabo was foreshadowed from chapter 1, one, you go ahead and do that. Back in Alabasta, there was no definitive proof that Sabo was ever a fully realized character. My problem with Sabo is introducing a magical third brother 10 chapters after the most devastating death in the series. This is not organic. In my opinion, Sabo's appearance in One Piece has always been reactive. He's always felt like a...
Yeah, I felt that at first, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. Those flashbacks, they really worked on me, man. Like, I think in the Summit War, what I enjoyed most was seeing Luffy as a kid and seeing how he grew up. I think that's what I enjoyed the most, because it was very easy for me to map like, oh, okay, not only just like motivation wise, you know, he's always been like this, but like his childish tendencies and how they've been reined in somewhat by like how he was raised and who he grew up around. He was always the youngest out of three brothers. That's why he acts like that. You know, to me, that makes sense, and I enjoy it. I liked watching him grow up. I thought that was cool.
Placement for Ace, and let's be real, functionally he is. He has the same role, the cool older brother. He serves the same emotional function for Luffy. He eats the same devil fruit as Ace, the Mera no Mi, because of course he has. You dye this man's blonde hair black, and he's Ace 2.0. And the amnesia, oh my god, this is complete bullshit. I'm gonna borrow a quote from my boy Corcus and just say, this is a load of crap straight out of the horse's ass. It's a narrative contrivance to explain why a character never existed, until the story needed him to, of course. Sabo forgot everything, up until the exact moment Ace dies, of course, and then he suddenly remembers.
You're nothing to me now. You're not a brother, you're not a friend. I don't want to know you or what you do.
This isn't character writing, I mean, this is just pure convenience. And then of course Sabo comes back, he's not broken. He's immediately Admiral level, he's fighting Fujitora. He's a top agent of the Revolutionary Army, working directly under Dragon, Luffy's father. Because of course, everybody has to be connected. Sabo isn't a rediscovered character, he's practically installed into One Piece like some weird patchwork DLC bullshit. Sabo's existence alone really just breaks One Piece for me, because I really felt like Ace's death mattered, only because it was final. And then Sabo just comes along and kind of makes him replaceable, both emotionally, thematically, mechanically. If a death can just be swapped out and replaced, then it isn't really a loss. And Ace's death kind of proved that One Piece might have been able to tell a story about consequence, but through the existence of Sabo, it just kind of shows me that Oda really wasn't able to go through with it in the end. And this is my problem with One Piece. It's not the world building, it's never been about the artwork, and not the ambition of the series. It's that nothing is ever allowed to be final. After hundreds of chapters, your boy is abandoning ship. I am jumping off of the sunny. For me right now, One Piece has stopped feeling like a story. It really has become nothing more than a system of formulaic arcs, padded pacing, artificial urgency, fake stakes, reversible death, and characters frozen in place. To be very clear, I don't hate One Piece. I'm walking away from One Piece, not out of anger, but I'm...
But when the One Piece gets revealed, it's gonna be peak, though. You're never gonna be able to go back to before you knew what it was, is what the One Piece fans will tell me. You know, I'll watch. I feel like I owe it to myself to catch up. I got 200 episodes left. Like, 200 is a lot, but if I'm 950 episodes out of 1100, I might as well just catch up. Because once I catch up, bro, I only have to watch like one episode a week. And it's clearly good enough for, well, no, it's not. It's the reputation. Wait, what is this? Kanye thinks we're done with this fake apology. If you want me to react to Kanye's apology, this thumbnail is exactly the way I feel. There's no reason for me to react to it. Okay, let's watch this. Oh my god, 28 minutes. I don't know what's going on with TikTok. I'm finally seeing that Noah comment. It's absurd. All right. Yeah, stay away. Okay. Let's see. Let's watch this new fucking
YouTube, what's going on, y'all? It's Mitch, and I'm back with another video, man. This is what, this video 6 out of 10. We're not making it to that 10, I'm not gonna lie. But today's video is not the normal video, gang. I'm really just yapping this video, but I'm not gonna lie. I can react to 100 pop the balloons. I can react to 100 loyalty tests. But at the end of the day, gang, I have over 100,000 people.
Butterfly does on
subscribe to my channel that I can reach. And I feel like it's crazy for me to not say nothing about nothing that's going on, bro. It gets to a point. And like I said in the video, bro, it's still stuff that I can't really say. I kind of had to do a lot of implying. The video that I was originally going to react to was a regular vid, bro. And I that video, like, I'm like, bro, the video that I was originally going to react to was a regular vid, bro, and I low-key felt crazy making that video. Like, I'm like, bro, everything that's happening right now, bro, and I'm sitting here watching the pop the balloon, bro, like, I can do that at any point, but it kind of felt crazy, I'm not gonna lie. And I literally looked over and seen this video and recommended on the side, and I was like, you know, I don't know. I didn't even get into as depth as I could have got into, because at the same time, it's still stuff you really can't say for real, I'm not gonna lie. In the description, I'm gonna leave some causes, bro, that y'all can actually donate to. You know, posting is cool, but donating and stuff like that is what actually helps. I'm gonna leave a couple of causes y'all can donate to really try to make a difference. But I don't know, I just wanted to say something, bro. Y'all stay safe out here, bro. It's getting crazy. I love y'all. I know I appreciate y'all tuning into the video regardless. Appreciate y'all like, comment, subscribe, and viewing the vids, man. All that stuff y'all do not have to do. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me that y'all actually enjoy my videos, man. I love every single one of y'all. That's why I'm making a video like this, bro, because it's just, I ain't gonna lie, I felt crazy making that pop the balloon video. I got halfway through and I felt crazy. I know in my heart beat, bro. I love y'all, bro. I hope y'all stay safe, man. I'm gonna stop all that talking and I'm gonna get into the video. TikTok isn't for you anymore. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I was gonna watch a whole different video today, but I have to watch this for me. Y'all know I was just gonna
reaction to a reaction. Let's get into it.
Get back on TikTok. The other day, I agreed to whatever terms they put on the screen, bro. I know it was stupid. I don't need you to tell me it was stupid.
Okay, let me tell you something. I don't think it matters. I think that TikTok is gonna do the same shit. Like, I haven't hit agree either. Like, they're gonna ask me to hit agree. I haven't hit agree yet. I think just because I'm still on it and because I can still watch it, I think I'm still agreeing to the services. I don't think this is gonna go away unless, like, there's like some sort of complaint.
I already know that. I already know I should have read it. I really low-key got to see what the hell I agreed to.
TikTok has been frequently down, the For You page reset, and now you can't search anything. And TikTok has been down before, but let's talk about the terms and conditions that we just signed.
Gang, you know how crazy that is? Low-key that it's down right now with everything going on in the world, bro. I ain't gonna lie, gang. We got some dark days ahead, bro. I'm just keeping a buck with y'all. I'm not even trying to fearmonger, but shit's about to get serious. Bro, TikTok is like, that's like, bro, TikTok was basically the news. If we lose TikTok, we talk about getting rid of TikTok all the time and TikTok needs to go, but if TikTok really left...
Nigga, TikTok should not be the news.
Gang,
bro, hell nah, nigga. That's not fucking trustworthy at all.
The world would change forever, bro. It would be a great shift, bro, especially cold turkey like that, bro. Like, if TikTok just all of a sudden just left on a random ass Friday. What day was that when it first went down? That was like Friday or Saturday, and nobody, like, on a random day that no one knew that was the last day you were gonna be able to use TikTok. I was on there earlier, and bro, I can't even describe to y'all what my For You page was. It was literally just like, you see the text on the screen right here? It was literally just like this. Every post was like this with a stupid ass question like, what's your favorite football team? It's even crazier that this will happen as soon as I'm about to get back on TikTok. They're so weird for shutting down the entire app just so I can't get back on there. Y'all knew I about to start back posting. They hate me. I'm telling y'all, they hate me. They kicked me off the app back in 2021. I was too woke. I was too woke and they kicked me off, bro. I'm telling you, I've been ahead of the game, bro. I was too woke. And back in 2021, when I was talking about the things I was talking about, they completely eradicated me, bro. They got me off the app so smooth. I make a new account, I'm gonna come back and y'all shut the app down. And CapCut goes down too. Mind you, CapCut is how I edit, bro. So I don't even know how I'm gonna get this video out to you guys. I thought this is a really crazy timing, bro. Even besides me.
What is she talking about? It's not. TikTok is still up and CapCut is still up.
Get back on TikTok. With everything going on in the world, this will be the craziest time for us to lose. Like, I'm gonna make a crazy claim here. I'm gonna kind of shake the table. Getting rid of TikTok in the times right now is like the equivalent of like if every single police officer turned off their body camera. That's not a good example. But it low-key is. Like, because you can still see stuff on maybe Twitter, maybe Instagram, but bro, TikTok was literally the news, bro. TikTok was literally the news for some niggas, bro. Bro, TikTok was connecting the entire world. Like, on one app, the entire world was connected. Bro, if they get rid of TikTok, gang, the entire music industry is gonna collapse in on itself. And even
when did this video drop? Because 6 hours ago. It's not down. Accepted the terms without even reading it. I don't even remember anything to agree to. Everybody talking about the TikTok update, but skipping the terms and conditions. It's not shut down though. It's just. I don't know. It's being sold by Oracle.
Past music. Fuck music. The economy. You know how many people, like, their main source of income comes from TikTok? You know how many niggas are famous and, like, they get paid from TikTok? Or you know how many small businesses, their main, like, marketing, the main way they market is through TikTok? They use TikTok Shop? The economy is gonna collapse. And we're already in a recession, bro. Bro.
Okay, so TikTok is, like, unusable right now. And if they really wanted to reset our algorithms and fuck everything up, why would they choose a snowstorm? Girl, we are all home. We are all on our phones. Every single person that farts right now, we are fucking noticing it. We are going through active censorship on TikTok right now. Because I am a creator on TikTok, I wanted to kind of give you guys like the insights to what's going on our point of view, because from your point of view, the app is down. Things are running really slow. You're not seeing the same videos on your For You page that you used to be seeing. But from our end, shit is not posting. We literally cannot post things. So if you did not see already, the US now owns TikTok.
Bro, it's actually over. TikTok is now owned by US based. Bro, it was a good ass run. They gonna talk about the run TikTok.
No, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that's true. There is a U.S. version, like a U.S. arm of TikTok that is owned by Oracle, not. Yeah, TikTok didn't sell to America. Like, that's the problem with these AI overviews. All right, let me look this up. Let's see. Investigate. Who owns TikTok now? BBC. They're unbiased enough. What happened? What does the TikTok deal mean for U.S. TikTok deal mean for New US? TikTok announced the deal allowing it to continue operating in the U.S., but the future in the country seemingly secures 200 million. Okay, majority American board now owns and operates a separate entity controlling TikTok in the US. So it's not the whole TikTok. It's basically like how there's Nintendo of America. They have Nintendo of America because Nintendo of America knows how to deal with American customers. Basically, TikTok US has been sold to a US fucking company. That means everybody else around the world gets regular TikTok. In the US, we get bullshit TikTok. Mostly backed by U.S. investors, the newly established TikTok USDS joint venture LLC is governed by a board of 7 directors. Among them, the Chinese owner ByteDance will still remain a 20% stake in the business. A content recommendation algorithm. Yeah, whatever. Okay. I'm a fucking superb reader. Literacy crisis averted. No, but I gotta keep shit pushing, bro. I get the point.
TikTok went on for generations to come. It's gonna go down in history. Nothing could stop TikTok but this. This was the only thing that could have ever stopped TikTok, bro.
In the U.S.
TikTok was moving like what Wilt Chamberlain back in the day. 100-point games. Genuinely took over the world, bro. Genuinely the first social media app to literally take over the
first. Come on, man.
World. The run that TikTok went on is gonna be studied in school, bro. It's gonna literally be printed in the history books. Silver Lake and Abu Dhabi's MGX. I mean, come on, bro. It's over. I'm not gonna lie. The original company owns 19%. You know, you would say, hey, why would they sell, bro?
Of the U.S. part, which she's not reading.
Either way it goes, we weren't gonna be able to use it. You know, the U.S. was waiting to get their hands on TikTok. TikTok is about to get turned into the biggest propaganda machine the world has ever seen. And even if it do come back,
oh man, it's gonna be tough.
Cause y'all niggas gotta really realize, bro, don't get fooled. Even if TikTok do come back up and start back working, it's not gonna be the same. And even if it looks the same, bro, I wouldn't post on there, gang. I gotta see what these terms are that I agreed to. I opened up the app yesterday morning. I just pressed agree.
Should I low-key just stop posting on TikTok? Cause I haven't hit agree yet. Maybe I should continually look at some other videos on like what the terms are.
Bro, agree was the only option. You know how you
literally agree is the only option. Hold on. They fucking hoe you too. Look. So right now, this pop-up is on. What do you mean something went wrong? But this pop-up is on this thing. Oh yeah, you know what? They did reset the For You page because I'm getting like I don't watch white girl makeup shit. Yeah, what the fuck? Like, this is not my page. This is what it looks like if you're signed out. You know, I usually get stuff that like looks like her content, or like, you know, that dude talking about One Piece, or like, you know, RDC or shit like that. Okay, yeah, NBA stuff. Okay. All right, I guess my For You page is back to normal. But you see how like you can't hear shit, right? Okay. I hit M to unmute it, but like this banner just will not go away until you hit agree. There is no I don't agree, you know, and it's still there. So I'm pretty sure if I was to sign in on my phone and like hit agree, because I think on your phone you literally can't even watch videos without hitting agree. January 22nd, to reflect changes including updated corporate entity, new types of location information, geolocation, collecting with your permission. I mean, shit, if TikTok is still on top, it's fucking we ball. You know, you got to sell your information to actually try to chase the dream. I mean, there's not much else you can do, but, you know, we'll see.
Press agree? I didn't know it was this deep. I didn't know that those were the terms and conditions of despair and agony. I didn't know those were the terms and agreements of 24/7 surveillance. It's over though, I'm not gonna lie though. Damn, bro. TikTok, crazy run, bro. I was there in the beginning of your run, bro. I was there for the start. I remember when nobody liked you, bro. I remember when TikTok was an underground social media outlet. It was still on the come up. I remember those days, bro. I was there when TikTok only had 100 monthly listeners. I remember having to turn down my brightness to be on TikTok because niggas would genuinely clown you, bro. TikTok, you really came from the bottom. You really got it out the mud.
Turned down the brightness.
Nobody could stop you except for the suits, bro. They had to bring in the suits to stop you, gang. What is the little saying? Don't be sad it's over, be glad it happened, bro. When I tell you had this shit in the palm of your hands, TikTok had this shit in the palm of their hands. Turned so many niggas up. TikTok made poor niggas rich. I'm niggas. TikTok changed my life, bro. I was a zero, man. When TikTok found me, I was a zero. I'm sorry, bro. I know I'm yapping, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This video is gonna be 99% me just yapping, bro. Maybe I should start up a separate channel for this. For times when I just want to talk and not react to a video. I low-key just want to talk to y'all because this is crazy. This is gonna be look back as the starting point. This was the turning point when TikTok got sold, bro. We're gonna look back on that.
That is an interesting perspective. Wow. What if that holds true, bro? What if 2025 was the last year TikTok was mainstream? Although, like, still, this is just the U.S. arm of the TikTok shit. Like, obviously, the U.S. is influential, has a lot of people, but, like, the rest of the world has most of the TikTok users. Like, fucking Europe, India, Asia, obviously. So TikTok as a whole is going to be fine. It's just that US TikTok is just going to be fucking lame. Honestly, I don't see anything that says any of the content is going to change. It's just that they're going to hyper surveil their users. So the only way I could see that changing is like maybe enough users are spooked and they don't want to keep using TikTok. But if the algorithm is the exact same, people are going to use TikTok. We shall see though.
That was the day.
And I'm going to honestly see if I'm going to be able to post without agreeing to the terms of service.
How when COVID hit, you remember that last day we went to school in COVID, it was Friday the 13th, when they said everybody was going home for 2 weeks. And at the time, we didn't know that that was a turning point. Like, that was the last day shit was ever going to be normal. That's how I feel about this, bro. But just wait. I'm not going to say too much. Just wait. And like I said, TikTok could come back up tomorrow. It could come back up today. I wouldn't trust it, gang. If you've opened TikTok and seen what's on the For You page, bro, that shit is mad suspicious, gang. With everything going on in the world right now, right after it got sold, bro, they're 1000%. They're changing the code, bro. It's gonna be some words you're not even gonna be able to say.
This sale was forced, and literally, we knew that things were gonna start getting fishy, but I did not realize how immediate the impacts would be of this sale. TikTok is one of the only algorithms that you can really see uncensored opinion.
Okay, I'm locked in. Oh, maybe that actually might be what is going to happen with the new sale. They are gonna try to be, like, you know, censoring stuff because TikTok is bullshit. Let's just go ahead and say that. But TikTok is also one of the wokest platforms you could find. Like, you will openly see that people on there saying free Palestine. You'll openly see people on there pushing like leftist ideology. I know that's a buzzword. But like you'll see people on there having discussions about shit that usually does not really get discussed, and it'll like have a lot of views. It'll be allowed to go crazy in the algorithm. I do think, oh yeah, there's like hella shit that's critical of the US government, all different types of shit, F-ICE, all that shit, right? And like maybe like that could be the domino, like because things are more censored in the US, like that is the first crack in the armor, and maybe another big country like fucking, at least in the English speaking world, maybe like the EU like has privacy concerns and they try to ban TikTok from their citizens. I mean, some social media bans are already happening in Australia, so you know, we'll see. But let's see what this gentleman has to say about that shit. I want a brownie.
Across the board, you see a lot of creators give their takes. You see a lot of creators kind of have to like censor words with like the little asterisk symbol, right? An individual word being censored is one thing. All videos on a topic being censored is another. What we're seeing, especially with what's going on with ICE in Minnesota right now, we're not seeing any coverage of that on TikTok. Quite literally, the only coverage that I'm seeing is through Instagram accounts that have
You know what? I guess I have noticed that. I guess I have. But I haven't really been on TikTok since that stuff happened. But actually, that's not true. I remember seeing CNN footage. Yeah, as a matter of fact, no, I don't think that's true. I've seen some coverage of it.
News and the videos on X. And it's like, I don't want to check fucking X for anything. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that, like, we got addicted to Twitter, because now that I'm checking it under Elon's thing, it's just like, bro, I am literally like, this is the last place I want to be. I wanted to talk about something that I felt was kind of...
Gang, Twitter is a crazy, crazy place. Twitter from like 2 years ago is not the same Twitter from today, gang. I used to be on Twitter. Twitter is like borderline unusable, bro. Everybody is so mad.
Twitter from 5 years ago at this point, because Elon brought it in 2022. So 2021 Twitter was peak. It was still very toxic, you know, but it was fun, bro. All my favorite artists were on there. Man, my favorite artists were actually using Twitter. Can you imagine that? Them being active on social media, bro. Yeah, 2021 Twitter was peak.
24/7. When I tell you somebody could save a dog from a burning building and niggas on Twitter would have something bad to say about it, like, you could go on Twitter and say, I just bought my first car. It's gonna be a quote with 100,000 likes of a nigga saying, in this economy, you're flexing your car on people who don't, with everything going on in the world, you thought this was a good post to make? Why don't you donate that money to a better cause? Like, under a...
That's old Twitter hate. New Twitter hate under Elon Musk would be like, I bought a new car, and it would probably be like a poster named Chaz, like, Nigga bought his car thinking we gave a fuck. Slow ass shit. So retarded. And then it would have like fucking 500,000 likes. Like, that's what modern Twitter is like.
Post of you saying, yo guys, I just bought my first car. Bro, why are you not spreading awareness with your car? Why did you not get... It's just like, bro, it's so performative on there, bro. Like, because in reality, I'm not even...
It's actually the opposite. They are very fucking racist on there.
Get into this conversation, but in reality, you can make as many posts as you want. If that makes you feel like you're doing something, that makes you feel better. But that's all it is for you to feel better. I'm not even gonna say too much. What's going on today? Niggas gotta exercise their rights, bro. Niggas gotta go outside. And that's all I'm gonna say, bro. Sit online making a post, bro. This is so fucked up. Okay.
Exactly. The revolution will not be televised. How I interpret that, no meaningful change is gonna be made through a phone screen. You have to go outside if you want shit to change.
I mean, all that does is make you feel better, but I'm not gonna lie. It's time for niggas to start marching. Every single time anything happens, bro, do niggas remember the Boston Tea Party? They tried to, like, raise the taxes. What was they trying to do? They tried to raise the taxes or something on them niggas, and they were not going. That's how shit changes.
Interesting that started all of this, and kind of bring it to your attention, because mind you, it's only our 4th day out here. We are literally 4 days into the sale of this fucking app, and it's already shit for
4 days? It's only been 4 days? I'm gonna open up TikTok right now. And see what I see, bro. Why doesn't Birmingham have an underground rap scene? Dang, I ain't gonna lie. Mine is low-key working now, but it's like no recent videos. All the videos I can see are old. There are no videos from before 3 days ago. It low-key look like it's getting back to normal, but I'm telling y'all, don't trust that shit, bro. Trust, they're not gonna let it stay broke forever, bro. They can make too much money from this out.
So it's only gonna get worse, and it's only gonna get more censored. Let's talk about that. So a couple days ago, I don't know if you remember, but there was a new terms and conditions that popped up. Girl, and if you're anything like me, I always just click accept to keep it going with these things. But honey, let's read this. Updated corporate entity. I'm like, no average person is knowing what the fuck they're talking about. New types of location information. Okay, geolocation, you know, we make
new type device. Okay, low-key every app does this probably, bro. Your alarm clock app probably does this. I'm not gonna lie. So okay. Okay, you know, whatever.
Collect from you with your permission. It's very downplayed, right? How we use our information and how we collect it to show you ads outside of TikTok. Okay, so they're gonna show me honey buns with the information. We're good. So agree, right? Notice how there's no other option to disagree. Red flag number 1. And this shit is not even tinfoil hat. This is exactly what the new privacy policy says. Let's read. Information you provide may include sensitive personal information. Girl, they are just like boring the shit out of you. 2 lines down. Relevant age threshold. Fine. Got it. Information you disclose in survey responses in your user content about
sexual life or sexual orientation. Ooh, that might be cooked, guys. I'm not gonna lie. If it gets to a point where they start busting niggas down, trying to get the gay niggas, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I can't hide this shit, man.
The racial or ethnic origin, national origin.
Busting niggas down, trying to get the gay niggas. It's very funny, but no, this is actually serious. They put that in the real terms of service. Like, what the fuck do they mean? What is it called? Information you provide may include sensitive personal information, such as defined under blah 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 blah. Defined under applicable state privacy laws, such as information from users under the relevant age threshold. Okay, if you're underage, we'll be, you know, knowledgeable of that. That has to do with COPPA, I assume. What's it called? Information you disclose in survey responses. Okay, when you literally answer questions you get asked, or in your user content about your racial or ethnic origin. Are you ethnic? Okay. national origin, religious beliefs, mental or physical health diagnosis. What the fuck? How are they allowed to accept? How are they allowed to take that? Mental or physical health diagnosis? Like, bro, fucking pharmacists aren't even allowed to disclose this. Sexual life or sexual orientation. Status as transgender or non-binary. Citizenship or immigration status. Or financial information. For example, we may process your financial information in order to provide you the goods or services you request from us, or your driver's license number in order to verify your identity. We may also collect precise location data depending on your settings, and as explained below, we process such sensitive personal information in accordance with applicable law, such as for permitted purposes under the California Consumer Privacy Act. Okay. This is horrid. This is the worst timeline.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie. If it gets to a point where they start busting niggas no down, trying to get the gay niggas, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I can't hide this shit, man.
Your racial or ethnic origin, national origin, religious beliefs, mental or physical health diagnosis, sexual life or sexual orientation, status such as transgender or non-binary, citizenship or immigration status, or financial information.
Gang, I can't think of one reason why TikTok needs to know your religious beliefs, mental or physical health diagnosis, sexual life, or sexual orientation. What do they mean by sexual life? Gang, are you gonna have to give TikTok like a list of all your bodies? I'm so confused as to what that could ever mean. Sexual life? Sexual orientation is not the same as that. I've never heard that one before. What does that mean? Well, I picked agree on this. I feel like I sold my soul. How was I supposed to know that these were the terms and agreements, terms and conditions of despair and agony? You wanna know what's so crazy is the whole problem with TikTok, and the whole reason why I had to get sold in the first place is because they were saying that they were spying on us. It's kind of crazy to think that the app was low-key safer for us when it was owned by China. This was probably the worst thing that could have ever happened to TikTok. Like, the best thing about TikTok was that it wasn't owned by anyone in the US, bro. What's the word I'm trying to say? Like, it was completely unbiased in terms of like what you're seeing about the US.
I think I know what word she's thinking of, but I don't know it either. It's like the same as the internet. It's like, what? Non-something? Well, we just gonna have to both not know that word together.
US, because the people who own it, they don't care about if the US looks good or bad. It being owned by the US is 1000% the worst thing that could have ever happened to this app, gang. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. And you know it's some shady people that own this shit now, gang. I don't trust anybody who's trying to buy it from the original owner and strip him of the app that he created. Can we talk about that? You know how mad I would be? I made this fair and square. I came up with this idea fairly and squarely, bro. Y'all just take it, bro. That's it, that's all. Y'all just take it. Just because we want it. That shit is lame, bro. I ain't gonna lie, that's lame. We lame, gang. That's one of the thing I really had to notice. We are lame. We the lame ones.
We,
you know,
all of us, you and me.
I'm not gonna say too much. We talk about different countries. We low-key just as lame as I'm not even gonna get into it, bro.
Sweden.
I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna shake the table. That was lame of the US, bro. We just took his stuff. This is crazy though. I don't even think it matters if I go in now and delete my TikTok. It don't even matter.
Okay, and then they're like, for example, here's what we do with your financial information. I don't give a fuck about that. This information, sure, it might be public. Sure, we might honestly share it. Like, think about when you did like college applications and stuff, right? Girl, you were putting your pronouns, you were putting your sexual orientation, things like that. That was pretty normal, right? You put in your essay, whatever. Like, but when put in the hands of the people that were putting it in the hands of, I'm just like, why now? You know why, but why now? Why the fuck now is this relevant? What we have going on.
Shout out to every single person that's getting up, layering their clothes, making a sign, and going outside and protesting, bro. Those people are the backbone of society, because that's what it really takes. There's no amount of posts that's gonna make a difference. With TikTok is cooked. I'm not talking about protests for TikTok. I'm talking about everything else that's going on in the world. There's no amount of posting on no app that's gonna change what's going on. It's time to get up and layer your clothes, gang. It's time to make a sign. Seriously, bro. Some niggas might think this video is mad boring. I could have reacted to a loyalty test or a body cam video or something, but bro, it's real shit going on in the world right now. I feel like I had to say something, bro, about something. Like, bro, it's going down. I ain't gonna lie, bro. And it's gonna keep going down. We got some dark days ahead. I'm not gonna lie, bro. This shit not a game. It's gonna get so crazy, and it's gonna be where you don't even know how crazy stuff is getting, bro, because you can't post about it. Bro, TikTok was literally like the news for people, bro. You know how many things we would not know if it wasn't for TikTok? Like, people get on there and share their stories and stuff, bro. TikTok was better than the news, bro. I will give them that. When it came down to like international news, like knowing what's going on around the world and hearing it from people, like hearing it from...
You know what? I think I gotta give them that too. I do feel like hearing a lot of different people's perspective, while they may be like just overtly biased, and also you wouldn't hear that many perspectives per se, because TikTok knows what your political leaning is, and they're only gonna show you shit that aligns with it. They're not gonna show you shit you disagree with. Like, I remember using TikTok while the election was happening, and like it was really, it really was like a crazy type of news. Like, obviously, you can keep looking at the electoral map, but like seeing people in real time, like, have their incorrect opinions on who's gonna win and why, like, that was an interesting experience. And the fact that censorship is probably gonna make that not happen anymore. Like, who knows? Like, maybe the new owners are just like, yeah, well, we kind of want legacy media to thrive, so all official news, all unofficial news is really going to be suppressed in our American algorithm. So we really don't know what's going to happen. But I do think that, you know, she's predicting a decline, which might happen. We'll really see. That sucks, bro. It sucks that it happens in the U.S. and nowhere else, bro.
People who have no reason to lie. There was nobody that was fucking with TikTok when it came to news. Now you just can't trust it. We can get back to regular scheduled programming next upload, bro.
Especially in Minnesota, what we're seeing happen with ICE agents, what we're seeing happen where so much shit is being pushed and so much shit is being pushed past the limit we've ever even seen it thought to be pushed to before. It's just like unimaginable, right? It was unimaginable that this information would be used against us, that this information would be targeted, that this information would be, you know, harvested in this way.
That's the thing that I'm saying, bro. It's things happening that have never happened before. So it's like we have no idea what's gonna, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you mix two colors that have never been mixed, the color that's gonna come out of it is gonna be a color you've never seen before. We have no idea what's about to happen because there's things that are happening now we have never seen. So we don't know what happens after that.
And in so many ways, we're getting our rights violated and we're constantly seeing pushback. And their goal is to make it sound crazy. The goal is to make it sound like it's unimaginable and crazy. And what we're saying is like far-fetched. But it's like, I'm sorry, but read the fucking fine print. Like, it's happening. Like, it's literally happening right in front of our eyes. And they're just counting on us to not say anything about it, to not make a big deal about it, to not refuse things. And the thing is, I hate to say refuse to use TikTok, but at the same time, it's like, if it gets down to that point, we need to have the strength and the courage to refuse to use these fucking...
If it came down to it, do you think niggas would actually strike when it comes to TikTok, bro? I don't think a lot of niggas realize how addicted they are to TikTok. I know without a doubt, some of y'all are going through withdrawals right now. When I first started using TikTok, I had to literally delete it off my phone because I kept clicking it out of habit. If it came down to a thing where it's like, yo, it's taboo to still be on TikTok because the state of the world, I wonder if niggas could really stop using it. I feel like niggas gonna make any excuse to stay on it.
I feel like, and this is what I hope happens, I feel like it's just gonna get booty and nobody's gonna want to use it. You know?
TikTok could get bought out by the Illuminati, get changed to the word Illuminati talk, and I think I would still be on it. I'm not gonna lie. But if not, bro, we're gonna see things happen in the world that I can't imagine. You know how many people, like I said, you know how many people's job is TikTok? If we lose TikTok, you know how many niggas would lose their job? Bro, do you know how many? I don't think niggas really understand how many people are making money from TikTok at this point in time. I don't even know what will happen to the economy. The music industry, that might be the only good thing that comes from that. Music might start to heal. We might start getting actually good music again. But
that's funny. Hey, you know what? I never thought of that. I really hope that, man, that's crazy. The thing about TikTok leaving is that there's nothing there to replace it. Like, we're not going backwards. We're not going back to Instagram. Nobody is going back to Instagram. Everybody hates Instagram. We're not going back there, bro. Instagram is like a glorified fucking dating app now. It's just fucking put all your best, like, flexing on there. TikTok was not perfect, but at least everybody was on it. And also, everybody wouldn't see the same things, but, like, at least some trends would, like, you know, permeate the main culture. Like, I mean, 6'7", stupid ass. Am I still alive? I'm like, but butterfly nose on a wheel.
is that worth the end of the world? Like, is that what we had to money from TikTok at this point in time? I don't even know what will happen to the economy. The music industry, that might be the only good thing that comes from this. Music might start to heal. We might start getting actually good music again. But is that worth the end of...
Man, the idea of music going back to a pre-TikTok world is very enticing. And to answer a question, yes, it is. It is worth the end of the world, bro. If somehow, bro, we go back to a fucking a SoundCloud era, even though SoundCloud is cooked, nobody's blowing up off SoundCloud anymore. But like some sort of like real music, like Stilo, Wubs, Eric, you know, shit like that. That would be great. I would really, really fuck with it. This may be a blessing in disguise. Who knows?
The world, like, is that what we had to do? We had to sacrifice the world so we could get good music again?
Yes.
Applications when they're doing that shit. There are people that speak up because they can't sleep at night. There's people that speak up because they have friends and family they care about. There's people that speak up because they hate to see injustice in the world. But there's a fuck of a lot of people that speak up when their money's affected. And I hate hate to say that that's going to be some people's breaking point, but the more and more people you're going to see speak up. For me, censorship is a huge thing. I think the fact that TikTok was suppressing some things and whatever, it's like, girl, we've been suppressed on Facebook, we've been suppressed on Instagram, we've been suppressed on everywhere. But the fact that it's a full, total censorship now, you cannot even get a video to load or hit the For You page. The shit you're seeing on your For You page is from 4 years ago, 4 months ago, 3 days ago. That was never the case.
Wait, all
so
right.
clearly,
Let me actually check this to see if that's true. I don't want to accidentally hit agree. I mean, I guess it is from 4 days ago, but that's not really out of the ordinary. I usually get anime edits and shit from like a few days ago.
Modern women are incapable of loyalty and shouldn't have careers.
This is from December, but I was seeing shit from December before the sale. That's a fucking clickbait shit or hook.
That's a wild accusation. Well, we can't even talk about traditional values?
Anyway.
I just keep losing.
I'm going to teach you how to read a book. And when I mean teach you how to read a book, I mean I'm going to show you how to apply the information about the book. Choose the right...
Wait, all right, so you... all right, I'm going to do some rapid fire shit. I want y'all to tell me who y'all audience is. Only our audience perspective of shit. Okay. Who do they say is the funniest?
It's random.
Yeah. Okay.
It's random.
Who they think is the ugliest?
John.
Desmond, easily.
Maybe Home and John. Maybe Home and John. John the most.
Where? Where?
Alright, is the next question.
You saw it on YouTube? John. You gotta be kidding me.
Anyway, we didn't come here to watch TikTok. I mean, I guess some of this stuff is older, but this kind of looks like my regular For You page, to be honest. I don't really see a difference.
things are happening.
I'm not gonna lie, I just scrolled. I just told you I just got on there just now, and there's not a singular video from before 3 days ago. I'm gonna try again right now to find a video. I'm finna reload the whole thing.
All right, I'll try to find a video from before 3 days ago. December.
It's been 22 minutes. I promise we have not been talking.
Apparently, this is from yesterday, 14 hours ago.
About 22 minutes already.
So I don't really see the same thing.
The first video I see is from November. That's crazy. First video I load up is from November 25th. Okay? I ain't gonna lie, this video is from 1 day ago. I found a video from a day ago. I'm telling y'all, it's gonna slowly come back up. But after that, what we just seen on there the past couple days, bro, I don't trust nothing about that app. I don't trust nothing about that app. But I promise you, people are not gonna care. Y'all ever met somebody or it's been somebody famous who be doing crazy stuff and it's like niggas always make excuses for them because they love them so much? That's how y'all are with TikTok. I promise you, it's not gonna be nothing that anyone can do to keep people off TikTok. That's just how TikTok is a beast. I'm telling y'all, like I said, when it's all said and done, the run is going to be talked about for generations.
And they're seeing how much we're okay.
That's something you say to me. You got deep to say to me. You gon' meet your goddamn bangs with me. What if I dogs on the wheel?
With. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm already not okay. I'm already not okay that we sold the fucking app. I'm already not okay the fact that we're seeing censorship. I'm already not okay seeing the fact that we cannot discuss actual news events that are happening in the United fucking States of America. Girl, you literally cannot say shit without it being docked, censored, watched, monitored. With this data collection that's going on, we don't know how this data is gonna be used, right? So when we're reading these terms and conditions, when we're seeing what's highlighted, it's like, it's in the hands of people that clearly have ill intent. What the fuck did we just see? It's like, what the fuck do we do? I'm gonna be very intentional about the ad revenue that we are using. I'm gonna be very intentional about the brands that we're talking about and the brands that we're working with, because the thing is like, money really is at a core factor of so many of these things that when businesses like boycotts work, right? When you see businesses like struggling because their money is getting hurt and their wallets are getting hurt, that's when you see change. And honestly, when we are at this all things fucking go land right now, where you can be as evil and as awful as possible and it doesn't fucking matter, at the end of the day, they care about their revenue, they care about their money. I like really like encourage you to like look at your boycotts, support local business, be careful and like cognizant about like where you're spending your time online. The fact that we just all agreed to that and we are now day 4 and the app is already shit from a butt. I'm like, yes, it's like funny, like, oh my god, we're at 0 views, but it's like, what the fuck did we just agree to? Keep your eyes glued to what the fuck is going on.
Anybody who didn't agree, you the realest nigga on earth. I'm not gonna lie, they got me. Bro, I'm so...
Hey, man. That's just wouldn't be the first time, bro.
Mad that I agreed to that, bro, because a nigga like me would not go for that. And when I tell you I didn't even think twice, bro, I treated that shit like an ad, bro. I agreed so fast, it was like Xing out an ad. I didn't even try to read it, bro. I was like, bro, this shit is in the way, man. That really is how they get people. No one ever reads the terms and conditions.
Telling you, that's going to be a huge thing about this.
Okay, to me, it's the opposite. Like, I hate when somebody tries to force you to do something. So, when I logged on to fucking TikTok and I just saw that shit hovering, I was like, bro, I don't care. This is dumbass shit. I'm not gonna click agree. To be honest, I didn't read it either. I just knew it was in the way and I didn't see an X button, so I didn't click anything.
this year for me, especially just going forward in my career. Like, I want to be very intentional about where my fucking eyes are going, where my dollars are going, what is happening, and I'm just sharing that with you. Behind the scenes, that has been a big like weight on me, but I just want to say, like, girl, we are in hell. Like, we are in hell, and we need to be very intentional about this shit going forward. So going forward with the podcast, I want to be highlighting things to help. I want to be highlighting ways to put your money towards causes that we can actually like feel like we're making a difference.
This is what I was just gonna say, bro. And I know niggas don't want to hear this, bro, but I feel like, gang, I have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I could react to 20 million Pop the Balloons. I could react to 20 million loyalty test, gang. But it's like I have 100,000 people that I can send this out to, bro. And so I low-key have to. Bro. We can get back to regularly scheduled program at any point, gang. I low-key have to do this. A lot of niggas don't have 100,000 people to send this out to. But what you can do, even if it's just $1, you can donate to the causes that are actually helping, bro. Because in a minute, gang, it's gonna get to a point where it ain't no more Pop the Balloons. It ain't no more loyalty test, nigga. It's gonna be like, you remember that SpongeBob movie when Plankton took over the world? And yeah, everybody saying, all hell Plankton. It's not gonna be no more Pop the Balloon, gang. It's not gonna be no more of this, nigga. So I'm saying, regardless of how boring it is to you, it's still happening. At some point, niggas gotta elevate their mindset, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Can't just be a nigga like, oh, I don't get into that. It's not my, I mind my business, bro. Everything that's going on is your business. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna continue to get worse and worse and worse. 2026 is gonna be a crazy one. I'm not gonna hold you. It's time for niggas to get ready, bro. Up here too, bro. It's time for niggas to educate themselves. The stuff that's going on in the world, y'all see it, bro. It's getting crazy, bro. What is about to happen in the USA is gonna be some shit we used to only read about. We used to only read about stuff like this in school in the history books, bro. And we used to be like, wow, life was crazy back then. Nah, life is crazy right now, bro.
And the fact that we're eliminating free speech spaces, or what we perceive to be free speech spaces online, we are not cultivating this audience and cultivating like our relationship for no reason. Like, I just want to tell you, like, to me, it makes me sick to my stomach to know that like we are just going to keep feeling more and more helpless if we aren't intentional about what we're looking at, where we're spending our time, both like what we're looking at, but also like the causes that we're helping to promote, donate towards. But losing TikTok, and inevitably it's just going to keep getting worse, is like a huge wake-up call that it's just so many people's like livelihood. Like, think about how much time we spend online, and now we're losing the spaces that like keep us safe, keep us informed, and keep us connected. It's just scary. And
again, you have to hear what he's saying now. Imagine if all this stuff was going on today and it was no social media. Like, imagine the guy who got killed by ICE, Alex Pretty, like a couple days ago. Imagine that happened and there was no way you could post that online. There was no way anyone could see that. That's all I gotta say. I'm ending it right here, bro. I gotta just leave y'all with that. This video gonna be mad short, bro. I usually don't post stuff like this, but this is a mad serious video. Even though it doesn't seem like it, it's as serious as I can try to make it, but still keep y'all's attention, bro. You know what I'm saying? It gets to a point. I can do 1,000 Pop the Balloons, gang. But shit is going down. And I can literally do that right after this. Like, I can do both. It doesn't have to be one or the other, bro. I can do both. I don't care how many views this gets or what the case may be, bro. This is genuinely just pay attention, gang. Just pay attention. It's getting serious. Pay attention to what's going on in the world, bro. Because it's happening whether you think it's boring or not. It's happening, bro. You know, I wish I could have really went into more depth with what I'm trying to say, but I can only imply what I want to say. I hope y'all get it, because it's still some stuff you can't really say on here. I'm not gonna lie, but y'all get what I'm saying. I love y'all, gang. Y'all.
I wonder what stuff that is, because I'll say it.
I'll stay safe, for real. It's getting crazy. Yeah, I hope y'all boys staying safe, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's getting crazy out here, and I love y'all, bro. I know my heart beat. Love y'all boys. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. I'm so for real.
All right, and on that note, I'm gonna end this stream too. I said it was gonna be light. It was kind of light. How you say? Yeah, I'm gonna just end it right here. All right. I hope the audio was good. I hope everything was, all right.